Hi, I'm Natasha Lockhart. Welcome to Studio Chatter. We're in that space after Christmas and the New Year.
I'm Stacy Beck, and producer Pete gave us a little break in our schedule to relax.
I'm Angie Murphy. We've picked out some of our favorite segments from the past year.
Get a snack and enjoy the conversations. That's coming up on Studio Chatter. Welcome to Studio Chatter. Can you believe it? We've come to the end of 2023.
No,
because we've sat here for so many years, like
Right?
wrapping up a year. Like, how are we here again?
I remember my mother always saying, as you age, the years go by
Right.
faster. It really is. So does that mean we're getting old?
When you're
That must be
buying
it.
things like this to put on your glasses,
Right.
I think you're 80.
And we're wise. We're wiser. Now we're
my
not losing our
gosh.
glasses.
I was actually looking at that, wondering, where did she get that? I just got my new pair of
Yay!
readers.
Welcome to the club.
Right.
When we started this, none of us were wearing glasses.
No.
So what
we
does that
are
We're
getting
aging
wiser.
before our viewers' eyes.
Yes, we are. Beautifully, I hope.
Yes, hope that's a good thing. Maybe with some of our guests that we've had here that can help with that, right?
Yes.
Very true.
100%.
Well, speaking of guests, so we're having our year in review,
Yeah.
and one of my favorite guests was Ashley Stratton. Do you remember?
So grand.
Okay.
Yes.
So she's dear to my heart because she is a former Miss Spanish Fork, and actually watching her blossom in her business, in her family, in her growth, and now inspiring others as a motivational speaker. It's just fun in so many regards.
So I remember she gave us a necklace, and she wanted us to set a goal.
Yes.
Have you guys, by chance, set your goal?
I had a goal in mind, but I don't know. It kind of changed a little bit, but I feel guilty. I have it sitting there where I get ready by my
But you don't
makeup
feel like you
stand.
can wear it because you haven't set your goal?
Yes, I was like, what? Because she wanted it done before,
Right,
the end of the year.
I'm feeling the same way. I have it right there. And there's a couple of things I have in mind, but until I'm ready to dig my heels in completely,
Because I commit,
Yes, right.
Yeah.
So I totally wore my necklace and didn't even care that I didn't even have a goal.
I love you.
All right,
So we need to do that.
let's take a look at that conversation. If there is ever a story of the hometown girl does good, our next guest could win the prize. Let's welcome Ashley Stratton to the table.
Hi,
Welcome.
thanks for having me.
Welcome.
Yeah.
I feel so special that I got invited to the birthday celebration. So
Well,
this is
eat
great.
your cake and ditto. Enjoy.
I mean, we're the super lucky ones.
Have your
Get a
cake
shot
and
with
eat
you.
it too.
Yes, I'm trying.
You've been here a couple times.
Yeah, I have. So it feels like I'm at home.
Yeah,
when
you're
I
not
come
nervous
here.
now?
No. Well,
And why wouldn't you be
Not it.
nervous? I mean, you're like out talking on stages and a motivational speaker now.
yeah, I try to not, being in front of people has always been my home. Like, I love being on stage. That's where I have my connection with Natasha. It's like,
Yes.
it was back in the pageant
It
days.
said 2008.
You were Miss
2008.
Spanish Fork 2008.
Yep, 2008. So it's been a long time. But I feel like that's where I got my roots in speaking, and that's where I really found out, wow, I really have a passion for this. And I got feedback after the speeches just in the pageant world, and I thought maybe there's something here where I can really help people like change their lives or help them at least make some decisions that could put them on a different course, So that's where it all began for me, was really in the pageant
I
world.
love that so much.
And then you
Yeah.
get married and have kids, and then
Yes.
are you able to just do everything you want to do?
No.
Kind of have to take a little break.
Yes, so I got married and had kids. I had a few speaking gigs like before I had kids, like in college, like at leadership summits and things. And then I really started to love it. And then I got married and had kids, and it really rocked my world. And that's when I realized, okay, how are people doing this? Like, I see other moms pursuing their goals and their dreams. Like, what are they doing? So that kind of spearheaded me getting back into speaking. Is I really wanted to go after the goal setting process. That's one of my keynotes. I have a goal setting keynote that I take around to women's groups and youth groups to help them achieve their goals. But I recently started interviewing women. Like, what's the goal setting process? What does it look like? And I just finished interviewing over 100 women entrepreneurs.
Wow.
I saw that
And-
actually. That
Yeah.
was awesome.
Impressive.
So rewarding.
Yeah, it was really fun. It was so much work. Like, even just setting up the interviews and scheduling with people and sending them the questions ahead of time and following up with them and then making social media posts about it. It's been a big project. But one thing came up over and over and over again that I think was really shocking, and I wasn't expecting it. Because I asked a lot of the same questions over and over again to see if patterns would emerge, and one pattern did emerge that had me turning off my Zoom camera and having tears well up in my eyes because of the answer I received to one question. And when I'd asked these women, what's a challenge you had to overcome to reach your goals, I was expecting them to tell me like about the first time they ever launched a product and they sold one thing and it was like their mom who bought it, you know? That's what I was expecting.
Yeah.
But instead they told me over and over again that their biggest challenge was self-doubt. And I had a woman who owns multiple stores and rentals and hotels, and she said, my biggest challenge is myself. And she said, I have so many insecurities. A children's book illustrator told me that her biggest challenge was the negative head trash. I just talked to a woman, and her company was number 123 on the Inc. 5000, and she was talking about imposter syndrome. Like, it was...
She has that?
Interesting.
Yeah.
Like
It
she
was-
doesn't feel like she should be there.
Well, when she was starting and getting going, that was something she struggled with.
Yeah.
I don't know that it was necessarily her problem at the
Now,
time,
right.
now, but getting going and the goal setting process, well, that was something she struggled with.
Right.
And so I was like, how am I hearing this again and again? Because I would look at them and think, wow, these women are so amazing. They're so incredible. And then they're all telling me they're struggling with this same thing. And that was like a really big hurdle for them. Like, I just talked to a woman this week who had like an incredible podcast. She's like in the top 5% in the world with podcasts. And she said, my biggest challenge was just fear. Just trying to overcome these things. And so my brand new keynote that I've written recently is overcoming fear and anxiety to achieve your goals. Because that was the biggest pattern that came up again and again and again.
I think it's human nature, right?
Yeah.
And maybe us as women too, like being in the workplace or the workforce or owning a company, maybe that even looks less than. So I do
Yeah.
believe that fear-based anxiety to, can I do this? Will I succeed?
Yeah.
Will I fail? What that looks like.
Yeah.
Work-life balance, wanting to be like 100% at everything, and
Right.
it really does probably take it does take a village. I mean, you
For
have
sure.
to have a supportive family, you have to have a supportive husband, you have to have support for all of those things,
Yeah.
right?
But if you
Yeah.
never do try and take the step, you never know what you're going to miss.
Right.
Absolutely.
So
yeah.
how are you engaging that in the future? What does that look like? That information.
So I'm putting it into a book that I'm currently working on right now, and then I just finished my brand new keynote. I'm presenting it to a group in November, and I'm really excited about that. It's a leadership group for women, and her team was stepping into a new role, but they're having a lot of like fear about like stepping into this new role. And I said, I'd love to come and speak to your group and just go through this new keynote that I have to help them overcome those fears so they can step into these new leadership roles.
Oh,
so
wow.
it's
So cool.
Yeah, I'm really,
Yeah.
really excited.
And did you start your book before this interview process?
No, I didn't. I wanted to get the interviews done and see what patterns came up.
And then
Yeah.
you chose
Yeah.
the topic of your book, or you decided to even write a book after that?
So I always knew that I wanted to write a
Okay.
book based on like what came up with these interviews. And I'm still going to continue to interview women. Like, this isn't the end for me. I wanted to reach 100, but I'm still going to continue to interview women. And I think my questions will evolve too, just in the process of, what's coming up? Like, what gets in the way of accomplishing your goals? And so now I'm going to take all of that information that I have and put it in a book. And as I continue to get more information, I'll just probably update the book as I go
So
on.
Ashley, I want to ask you that question. What's gotten in your way to accomplish your goals?
Oh my goodness. So many things for me. I feel like one of the biggest things is just, and I hope this doesn't come across in a wrong way, but a lot of times for me, it's my family life. Like, it's really hard for me to be able to achieve my goals and still be the mom that I want to be.
Right.
So one thing that I loved, I interviewed Al Caraway, and she's an award-winning speaker and
Wow.
author.
Yeah.
And we had the same idea of what it takes to accomplish your goals. And she said, for me, it's a supportive spouse. And she said, I could not do what I do without my spouse, because he helps me, supports me so much. And I asked her, I said, but what if someone doesn't have a supportive
Yes.
spouse? Because there's going to be people listening that don't.
Yeah, they're
And-
either single or not supported.
Yes,
Right.
yes. And she said, well, then do you have enough self-love for yourself to sit down and have that hard conversation with your spouse to say,
Yeah.
hey, I love myself enough that I want to show up this way in the world. And my goals mean enough to me, like, can you help me and support me in this? And I really like that. She said it all comes back to, like, do you love yourself enough to say, hey, I have something I want to do to help other people, to a message I want to share.
I love how you
Get out
also
there.
said that that she said, this is the way I want to show up in the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah. I really love that.
I love that
Oh, I love
so
listening
much. Well, right? Because I think a lot of times too, women make themselves like the last priority.
Yep. Yep.
Instead of maybe there isn't enough self-love, or I need to do this for myself in order
Yeah.
to show up for everyone else.
Yeah. And I feel like I show up as a better mom, a better spouse, a better friend.
100%.
Yes,
Yeah.
when I'm doing the things that I love.
When you
even,
do, yes, for yourself.
Yeah.
100%.
I think
Yeah.
you're more mentally in the game with your kids. You can have challenging
Yes.
conversations and talk about hard things.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
you're so aware of the world around you.
Yeah, and I think it opens doors for your kids to say, hey, like I have something that I want to do. Like that woman I talked about that's on the Inc. 5000 list, she said her son is starting a business as a teenager, and he's not dealing with all the fear and stuff that she had to deal with, the imposter syndrome, because he's like, I've seen my mom do it. Like I know I can do this, and he's just going for it. So he doesn't have all those mental blocks that
Oh
are
my
stopping
gosh, I
him.
love you so much. I love
Yeah.
this. This is that positive energy.
Yes,
You are
it
so
is.
awesome.
Well, I wanted to leave you guys with a little challenge, if that's okay.
Yes.
So,
What is it?
so I have this summit necklace that I've created. It goes along with it goes along with one of my keynotes. So it says accomplishing a goal is like climbing a mountain. And we invite you to wear this necklace as a daily reminder to climb your mountain and accomplish your goals. And there's a few more things on there that you can read about. But one of the biggest things that I found is 3% of adults have written goals. And so you're 42% more likely to achieve your goals if they're written down. So there's a place for you to write your goal and a target date on there. And so, but climbing a mountain, a lot of times you'll have to stop. If you get tired and pause and look at the view, I think that's what achieving a goal is like. Sometimes we have to pause, we have to get help along the way. So I chose the mountain as my symbol for that. So I have one for each one of you.
Aw.
And I want to ask you to write your goal on there.
I'm so proud of her. Thank you.
Happy birthday too with this. I want to invite you to write your goal on there.
Thank you.
And if you'll share it, I would love that. If you'll share it with me or even on the show, maybe you can share what your goal is.
Share this with everyone.
I think that's okay. And the other thing I wanted to say too, if the date comes and goes of accomplishing your goals, let's say it shows up and you didn't accomplish your goal, then what did you learn along the way?
We need to give her a tissue.
Do you want to
Oh, this is, no, I'm good. I'm good.
This is like Mama
No.
Bear.
I know, no.
This mountain right here just reminds me of like, this is a mountain in our backyard. Like to the east of us,
Yeah.
it's this big mountain that just surrounds us. And I think the Wasatch Mountains just always make me feel like we're getting hugged. Like
Yes.
God's arms
Right.
are just around us and loving
to
us
look
through
up.
our
I love
challenges.
that.
And so, thanks.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Ashley. You're
Ashley,
an
we love
amazing
you.
example, and you're coming back again in this coming year. I promise that. Okay, well, that was fantastic.
Yeah.
What about you, Stace?
So I thought of Laughing Owl Greenhouse. They've been here twice in the spring and the fall.
Yes.
And they're so engaging when they are here. I had a lot of fun in the fall because I remember we were standing around the table doing a lot of fun things.
I wasn't here that time. Oh, sad.
Yeah. But spring, there's something about getting out of winter,
Yes.
getting your hands in the dirt. I remember like smelling the dirt and then like bringing in flowers and just smelling the earth. Like
And letting us create, giving us that space
Yeah.
to create with them.
it
and
just makes you so excited
they've just
for
been
the
so
new
diverse,
season.
right? Just this
Yes.
cute little people that we found at Farmers Market has turned into
Yeah.
like one of our regulars.
I adore them.
We love them.
Yes.
Yeah, we do.
They were my choice.
Okay, let's watch them.
Okay. Welcome back to Studio Chatter. Nothing says spring like getting in the garden. Let's get on our gloves and welcome Travis and Stephanie Canoop from Laughing Owl Greenhouses to the Chatter.
Welcome back, friends.
Yeah, I feel like a regular now.
You
Should be. You
Is
should
this
be.
your third time?
This is our third time. Yeah.
Okay.
We were joking before that you could just take over and have your own segment. You don't even need us.
No, that's
But we're
not
happy to be here.
Maybe we need a gardening segment.
We can do
a gardening
segment.
show.
We can do
Here in
gardening
Spanish,
show.
Yeah.
in Spanish Fork.
Yeah, we do.
Are you
Okay,
guys
everything
open?
about this
It's
makes us
March. Are
happy.
you open?
We are open. Mhm.
Okay, I'm coming tomorrow then to drop off my pots. Is it time?
Absolutely.
Am I late?
Well, no, you're not late. So it's still snowing outside. It's still snowing outside. That's true. Never stops. Generally, the rule of thumb is like the later folks bring in their pots, just the more heat we put on them to get them ready in time for Mother's Day. So it's okay. We'll make
Alrighty,
it work.
I'll get them in.
Sounds great.
You got this.
I got it. Mine every year. I've been the last 3 years. Is that how long you guys have been?
Yep.
Yep.
The smell
I know.
is like a bit intoxicating right now.
Just dirt.
Well, I'm smelling.
Just earthy and yummy and ready to go.
Yep.
Ready
that
for
is
spring.
nice.
Isn't that yummy?
Okay, what are we doing
Okay,
today,
what are we doing?
kids?
So today I thought we'd do something interactive, and we're gonna do. Yeah, we wanted to get our hands dirty.
Wow, this is interactive.
So these are our Life and
this?
Health aprons. I talk
So now
about
we're
your-
official employees.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep. And I'm sure you guys will do wonderful, so we'll make sure to get the paperwork signed at the end.
Oh,
To
okay.
get you guys started in the garden center. But
Beautiful.
what we wanted to talk a little bit about today is that even though there's snow outside, it's really
Oh, you guys,
cold
like, went
and
around?
windy.
Yeah.
You can still start your gardens now. Now's a perfect time for us to get things started. And these are some herbs that we actually planted just last month. And
Wow,
wanted
they
to,
Last
Fast.
month.
yeah,
Wow. Well, you have a greenhouse. That is really nice.
yeah, it is nice to have.
But it's crazy how fast that they could grow.
Yeah, as long as you have the right conditions, you can do about anything inside the
So are people needing to have these indoors if they're
We-
starting them at home or what?
Yeah, so what's nice about what we have done over the last 3 years, we've progressed and grown quite a bit. We've listened to the community and have really taken into consideration the things that they're asking for, what we can help them with. And a lot of them is, what can I do to start gardening now? And because I'm getting the itch earlier and earlier every year. And so I was like, okay, well, let's start bringing in things that will help the folks be a lot more successful in their gardens throughout the season. And so one of the things that we've done was we've opened up a new retail store that has all of the goodies that you need. So we don't just sell plants anymore. We sell your seeds, your seed starting supplies. We sell your soils, your fertilizers, gloves, little seed dials. We got quite a bit of stuff that just gives you just a nice little insight of all the things that we carry to help you guys be successful. The goal is to be a one-stop shop for
I
everybody.
was just going to say that. Yep.
That's awesome.
Perfect. Yep. Helps
So-
ease us into it.
Yeah.
Well, can we touch the dirt?
Absolutely. Go right on ahead. So, you want to talk a little bit about herb gardening and all that fun
So
stuff?
the nice thing with herb gardens is it can be anything right in your kitchen once, especially once it's warming up. But then you could just clip right off. Travis is going to show you how to clip some of the herbs right off, and then they just keep growing, so you have them all season long. Now's the perfect time, and we also have different seeds that you can start now inside. And we have our little greenhouses that you can just put in a windowsill and start your own seeds now, so that they're ready as soon as that sun comes up.
Okay.
And do you want this, what kind of a room? Your sunniest room in the house, or any kitchen will do?
It's funny, is a lot of people ask that question, and initially about that first week, all you need is that seed to be warm. And so you can keep it on the inside of your home that's closest to like a vent that puts out warm air.
Oh, okay.
And then once the seedling kind of starts emerging, you want to make sure to get it near a bright, shiny window, and then that'll help them kind of start reaching out and getting that growth on them. So, yeah.
Okay, alrighty.
Do you have a favorite that you like to use?
I love basil.
Okay.
That's my go-to. But it's been fun. The biggest thing I think is fertilizing, and just even for myself, learning of just new things and trying new things, and then the kids want to try new things, which is nice. So if you guys want to grab one, we'll just stick them in.
Okay.
I'm gonna
It smells like a fresh pizza.
I'm gonna teach
We
everybody.
just need some mozzarella cheese.
Yeah, we do. Yep.
This one.
Can I just pull it off, or is that not the proper way to do it?
Well, the good thing is
like
plants are tough, and so
Okay.
if you do tear it off like this, if you pop that off, it's not going to hurt them.
Oh my gosh.
Actually, it just makes them want to branch out more and get a
Oh,
lot
that smells so
bushier for
good.
you.
Really?
So
Is that with any plant, or just?
a lot of them, yeah.
So are you okay if we start putting it in?
Absolutely. But I'm going to show everybody a quick little trick on
Yes.
how to have the best flowers, herbs, or vegetables. It all comes down to making sure you're fertilizing, okay? So we've got multiple different types of fertilizers. We got your organic base, and we also have your traditional synthetic kind. But what's nice with this is our vegetable blend right here. All you got to do is just sprinkle just a little bit in the soil like that. This stuff, you won't burn your plants. With
Do we
this
mush it
particular
around
brand,
in it?
You want to go ahead and mix it around, yep. Just like that. And now it's fertilized and ready to go for about the next 10 to 15 days.
And then you do it again. Just
Yeah,
a
and
little
then
sprinkle like that.
And then after that, once it's planted, you just water it in and it's good to go. So.
Okay.
All right, so let's talk about these chives for a minute.
Okay.
One of the tricks is you might be able to go, if you go to garden centers, you might find plants that look like this.
Yes.
You know, what I like to do is I just like to show everybody that you can come in and you can just clip it just like that. And what it does is it promotes it to become more stockier and more bushier. And so that way you're not having them lop over and look kind of, you know, sad. So
Okay.
just by trimming them up, it really does, it really helps them when it comes to their growth.
Okay, so would you do that? Like if you bought this from the store before I planted it, you would probably suggest doing that?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I would keep these little clippings because you can still throw these in your dishes, you know, eat them fresh, however you want to do it. These are still really good to eat. So yeah.
Okay,
But,
all right, a 2-for-1.
There you go.
Okay, so then how far down do we go?
So the rule of thumb is you want to go right to the same level as the root ball right there. That you pulled it out of the pot. So.
Okay.
So whenever I plant things at home, and I don't do herbs, I do flowers, I always kind of do this.
Yep.
Break it up a little bit? Is that good?
what you should do, or does it matter?
Well,
I do both of that.
so anytime you break, you know, whether it's the root or whether it's the top, what it's doing is it's encouraging for new growth and more aggressive growth.
Okay.
And so it's a really good idea to do that because it makes those roots really get stimulated to get reestablished again.
Okay.
So it kind of stresses them out. So it says, okay, let's go ahead and let's get established quick now because some of my roots have been damaged. So,
Alrighty.
because it's a living thing.
Can you ever do it too much to where it hurts it, or?
Yeah, you don't want to go more than a third.
Okay.
So if you start ripping half of it off,
Yeah.
then you run the risk of really damaging it.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
Is this one even trimmed also?
It is trimmed. So what's nice about this deal is you can see this new growth right up in here. See that new growth? So you can come in with your scissors and you can just clip just right above that new growth. And once again,
We just can't take you home with us. We don't know what to do.
so this will now really flush out and it'll give you a nice bushy deal right there. So.
Okay.
Awesome.
And if you ever have
feel like we
questions,
should
if
do
you're
this.
about to, you know,
wanna do one of
chop
those?
and you're
We
not
don't
sure if
have
you should
that
chop,
yet
just
either.
message us on Instagram.
Okay.
Or really quick, you
Might
can
have.
send us messages, or if you have something that you're not sure if it's alive or dead or
Chamomile?
just
That's our
message us
chamomile.
and we'll help.
Ooh, that's so cute. Everything smells so yummy, guys.
Now,
Love it.
Now the good thing is, or one thing that I always point out is these guys are still babies, so you want to give them some room when you
Okay.
plant them because you know they're going to fill out. A lot of people will just try to jam pack
Yeah,
it all in.
that's what I do a
and
lot.
They'll start competing with each other. So give themselves just a little bit breathing room, and then all of a sudden you'll get a lot healthier plants,
Okay.
and you'll get a lot more harvest off of them.
All right, Natasha, you get one more corner, right?
Sure do. Are we doing okay?
This one right here is our cilantro. Yeah, so there is a purple basil right there.
Oh, look at
Use
two.
that.
Natasha, your favorite color.
There you go.
Okay.
But
Never heard of purple basil.
you have it's called dark opal, but
Oh
people
my
call
gosh,
it
it
purple.
smells
Yeah.
so good.
Does it taste the same or a little bit different?
You know, basils are very unique in their flavors. Their own different
Okay.
flavors, yeah. So some people they'll find a flavor that they like with basil, and then that's usually the variety that they stick with. So
Okay.
believe it or not, there's over 20 different varieties of basils out
No,
there.
I
Oh
would
my
not.
gosh.
I would not even know that.
No.
I know this one. Okay, can people keep this year-round inside, or
Absolutely.
do they need to get it out in the sunshine?
No, as long as you've got a light that's pretty bright, this is like would be perfect if you had it in your house. But
We'll just leave it here.
yeah, there you go. As long as you're getting what we call
There you go,
enough
right?
foot candles, which is 1.5 foot candles, this will grow and flourish inside your home.
Awesome.
And most people say, well, I can go to Lowe's and buy a plant light and I'll keep it on there, and that's absolutely right. You do that and it'll stay flourishing all year for you.
So when you say a light, you're meaning any light, not outside light?
Yeah, it can be any light as long as it's putting out enough foot candles. Yeah.
Oh.
Like a
Fluorescent
lamp.
light. If you go to like your big box stores, we'll start carrying the same lights, but they're specialized for plants, and so we'll
okay.
have those as well. They haven't come in yet, but they're coming. So,
Okay.
yeah.
I'm so excited
Awesome.
about
This is
that.
exciting. This does make me excited.
And then
for-
you brought us like a little treat, a little snack.
Yeah,
No one's ever brought those before.
You've been growing these two there?
we have. Yeah, so we made a commitment to our customers. We get quite a bit of customers that say, "Well, what does it look like? what is a Socrates cucumber, which is what that is. What does it look like? What's it taste like? Or, what's a lemon cucumber look like? Or what's a sun sugar tomato look like? So what we've done is we've taken all the varieties that we've grown that we sell as a transplant for our gardeners.
Wow.
We've now grown mature plants inside our greenhouse, and we now harvest off of them so that folks can not only buy the transplant, but they can see, taste, and touch what that actual fruit's gonna
Wow.
look
I love it.
That's awesome.
It's like hands-on all around.
So do you have tomatoes there now?
I do, yes. They're still green. I didn't want to bring some green tomatoes for you, so I was like,
We'll
the
start with
cucumbers.
this. This will be my lunch tomorrow. Cut that up. That looks delicious. Yes. Uh-huh.
Oh,
Little
this looks
cheese.
yummy, and just the color green.
I know, right?
It's
Don't you just want to keep smelling it? Yeah, I do.
Thank
Okay,
you.
anything else you guys need to tell us before you go?
Well, so yeah, right now is a great time. March is the perfect time to start your seedlings.
Okay.
Stop by Laughing Owl. Consider us. We've got all of your seed starting needs, your seed starting soils, all the seeds you can imagine under the sun. We're carrying it all for you. And you can always count on us. You can hit us up on Instagram, Facebook, send us videos, send us pictures. We will respond and let
Okay.
you know how to help or how can we help you be successful. So we try to be the experts for everybody, that they can have the confidence that they can rely on us to provide them with the
Okay.
information that they need.
Well, I think this will make everyone's brain happy.
Yes, it's made mine.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank
Ready
you.
for
Absolutely.
business. We
Thanks for
love
being
it.
part of our
Love you
community.
guys.
Love it.
No, we
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, and it's your turn.
Okay, guys, I had lots of favorites, right? Lots of fun guests this year, but one that kind of stuck out in my mind was Dylan Muirbrook from the city, who came to talk about roundabouts.
Right?
Which I missed.
Oh, which was so grand. I really thought that it was going to be something just like history. You know what I mean? Just like meh. But it was so informative,
Yes.
and I loved it because Dylan was in my ward, so I've known him since he was a little boy. To have him come on set, so knowledgeable, so engaged with what he was doing, and gave us the reason behind
Love it.
some of the stuff that the city does.
I love that you chose this because now we're going to play the roundabouts again, so everyone that missed it before can learn a little bit more about roundabouts.
Absolutely.
And we're going to have some more in the city, hopefully, he says.
Yeah, we are.
It's good. Okay.
Let's roll that clip. Welcome back to Studio Chatter. It seems like we can't go a day without someone complaining about the new roundabouts on social media. Well, let's get a little education. Let's welcome Dylan Muirbrook, a city traffic engineer, to the table. Well,
Thank you for coming, Dylan.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm happy to be here.
Dylan is my neighbor, guys. He was my home teacher. He's a fabulous human being, and now he's an expert at roundabouts.
Yay!
Most importantly, I'm born and bred in Spanish Fork, so
He
I
gets
know
it.
it. I
So
get it,
that's-
right?
He understands. This is a panic for us
It
all right
is.
now.
We're all panicking. I get it.
Yes. Well, we've definitely had this conversation in our home as well. And it's like the ins and outs. How do we go in and out? Do we blink? Do we use our blinker? Do we not? Do we just keep circling? Do we stop? So thank you for being here. Thank you for educating us. And first things first, let's just start a little basic. Why are we seeing the roundabouts?
Because we live in a small town.
Right.
Please educate
They're
us.
still kind of new, right?
Yes.
So roundabouts, I don't know if they were an invention of this country. I like to take credit for everything good in the world, but I think roundabouts might not have been one of our inventions, but it is a great invention. The roundabout is designed to be safer for everyone that uses a road. That includes the vehicles, so people driving their cars, bicycles, and pedestrians. It's safer and better for everyone. They're more efficient, and they're a lot more attractive. They make our city look more beautiful instead of less beautiful. So there's a lot of advantages to them. And they're simple, right? You only go one direction. No, it's simple. I
That's
promise.
where you lost it.
The citizens are like, no, we're gonna.
Let me explain.
tell
It'll be
us,
simple. It'll be
yes.
simple. You only go one direction in the roundabout, right? And that's counterclockwise. So
Okay.
in a roundabout, you only go in the one direction always.
Could you get out a car
Yep,
so
we're gonna
Dylan
start.
can
Yep, we're
explain
gonna
this to
start
us?
pulling these out. Yep.
Pick a car, Dylan.
This is the best training that I've
I
ever
think
done on a
we all
roundabout.
get two. I got to pick
She
mine
wants purple.
first.
She likes purple.
Everybody gets to pick
don't
two.
take purple.
Picks two. Okay.
All right. I'll pick that one.
Well, we're picking cars.
one.
Okay, so we're talking about direction.
All right. Okay, direction, counterclockwise for sure.
The beauty of them. And then what about, are they actually more cost effective?
Yes, when you look at the big picture, the initial construction cost is not cheaper, right? They're more expensive to construct.
Okay.
Bumblebee.
But over the life cycle of a roundabout, we do see a lot of cost savings, and we'll talk about why that is in a minute. But here's what I was explaining about one direction, right? So as you enter the roundabout, you only ever go counterclockwise, right? You never go against the grain of a roundabout.
So if I'm coming this way, I'm not supposed to go that way.
Nope. And in fact, that's why these are so beautiful. We designed these. You see these islands here in the middle of the roundabout on the roadway? These direct traffic, right? If you were to just kind of coast along the roadway, and if it were, you know, a bumper car or something and you were bumping into that curb, it would send you right into the middle of the lane where you're supposed to be, right?
Sure would. This would be an obstruction.
So it's a,
Exactly.
if
it's
I
a
tried
guide.
to roll over.
Exactly. It's a natural guide. Even for people, like a lot of our residents who maybe have never seen a roundabout before, it's a little bit intuitive, right? It just follows the natural shape of that roundabout. So that's the first good thing, is how we design those, it channelizes. That's the technical word that the engineers will use when they describe it. You're channelizing the cars into a
I
certain
love
place.
that word.
We need one of those for my children. I can channel, just channel where they
Just
go.
want to try it. Okay, so now Dylan, now I'm in here. Now how do I get out?
Right, how do you get out, right? And so likewise, just in the same way that coming in and turning left would be difficult, going out by turning left here would be very difficult, right?
Very.
So this would be a maneuver that you would have to go over the curb and you'd hit both curbs, right? Again, it's very intuitive that the roundabout is designed to flow you out where you need to go.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So
Should be.
it should be,
Should
right? If we don't think too hard about it, it will, right? So that is how they're designed. They're designed to be an easy in and an easy out.
So who has the right of way?
So you always yield to whoever's in the roundabout already.
So let's all enter the roundabout.
Okay?
I'm coming down past.
Who gets to go
I'm
first?
going to Vasa.
So this is a rough one. The correct answer here is that, is anyone already in the roundabout?
No.
That means we can all go.
Okay.
Okay? Now we're all inside.
She's starting to honk because I'm a slow,
If you're too
driver
slow,
entering,
yeah,
right?
you either go
And
or
then
you stop.
Okay.
She's gonna have to go.
I'm
She's
gonna
have
let
to.
you go.
All
Okay.
right, she's going to yield.
And don't stop. That's because
don't
people are
stop.
Oh,
stopping.
and I missed that. Whoopsie.
And people need to use their blinker to go out.
Do they?
Excellent. Yes.
I just asked.
The law is that you're supposed to use your blinker. Now, as you may have
That's a
noticed,
pretty quick, but that's a really quick. You know, if I'm
You're
going
supposed to.
from here
and
to
then
here,
I flick it on really
What if I'm
quick.
going from here to there? That feels straight.
it's a good
Still
question.
a blinker,
And that's
right?
why people struggle so much to use their blinkers in roundabouts. And that's why you probably won't get pulled over if you don't. But yes, the answer is you should use your blinker right when you're about to exit the roundabout.
Okay.
Okay?
Which
Okay.
does make that a little bit tricky if we're just being honest, like right there.
does.
And then they're like, oh, are you
So I'm
going
trying to
here?
steer.
So you should kind of wait till here and then blink right
And
in.
then blinker, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, the idea is once you're inside the middle of this roundabout, anytime that you leave the roundabout, you're technically turning right.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So as
got
soon
it.
as you're ready to turn right, you hit that blinker.
Okay. All right.
Now tell us about the middle and the landscaping.
Well, yeah. What if we did a little bit like that?
Because I
Then what
know
would
there's
happen?
been some senior citizens who are like, I can't see.
Don't
on
single
the
anybody
other
out."
side."
I don't know who's coming.
Why would they put big landscape right there to block the view?
That's a great question. So when we talked about how cars get in and out of a roundabout, I said it was intuitive, right? The landscaping in a roundabout is the part that's not very intuitive. This one doesn't make a lot of sense until you really start to think about it. Roundabouts are designed to be what we would call low kinetic energy. What that means is anytime that you could have a potential crash, it's going to be a less severe crash than in other situations. For instance, we'll use these two cars and we'll show it.
Okay.
If this guy's coming through and I fail to yield, right? This is funny because it's got the Union Jack on it, right? So we would assume they know how to use the roundabout, but we'll just keep going. If I fail to yield here and I hit this vehicle, look what that collision's like. That's what we'd call a glancing blow, right? kind of a side swipe, a deflection crash.
Not a T-bone or
Not a
anything
T-bone,
crazy.
not a head-on collision. These are the safest crashes you can have. Now, we don't want any crashes, and roundabouts reduce all crashes. But if there is a crash, we want it to be the
Minimal.
least severe that it can be, right? So that's the first thing. This center island has an important purpose, and that important purpose is very counterintuitive because we're trying to make drivers uncomfortable.
Ooh,
Right?
okay.
We're trying to make you a little bit uncomfortable
Because you can't
So
see.
you're
you
aware.
feel-
so that you're aware, right?
Yes.
Not only that, but let's look at it this way. If we have two vehicles coming from opposite sides of the roundabout, does it actually matter to this vehicle if this vehicle is here? Will it make
No.
any difference?
So you want them to divert their attention on what they can see, which is over here.
Exactly.
To where they need to yield.
As you
Instead
enter,
of looking down the road.
Exactly.
Maybe.
Yep.
Okay.
As you enter a roundabout, once you've passed that crosswalk and you know there's no pedestrians and you enter that roundabout, the only place that you need to look to be safe is
To your left.
to your left. Right? You don't need to look straight
So
ahead.
this one just needs to look here. Of course, he's not going to do that, but look there, and then, oh, nobody's coming.
Right.
And then they can go.
And we find that a lot of people, if they were to see a vehicle coming straight at them and they're looking at this roundabout and they're thinking, whoa, I have to kind of divert around it, I'm not sure what I'm doing, and there's a car coming straight at me, they panic, right?
There's too many things going on.
Too many things, right? Too many things to
Okay.
think about. There's someone coming at me from here, there's someone coming from here. So the center island has an important function. It focuses the driver's attention on what's important and can also make them a little bit uncomfortable, right? They'll pay a bit more attention if they're not sure what they're looking at.
Instead of like sitting at a stop sign, like texting and then going forward because they see
Exactly.
someone else move.
Exactly,
Yeah,
yep.
I like it.
Okay, so now we're going to advance.
Oh, boy.
We're going to level up.
Now we've learned our
that-
basics.
So that was 4th North. Now let's talk the
Let's talk
other.
about 2-lane roundabouts.
Okay, let's put this back in here because it's still going to exist.
Yes.
Correct?
Yep.
Okay.
This is more up by.
Where is this by?
So this is behind
Walmart?
that small mart. Yes,
Yep.
that small
Oh, I
Walmart.
love the neighborhood. Okay.
Yep.
All right, yeah, so it gets a little bit more challenging here, right?
Yes.
And people get a lot less comfortable.
Uh-huh.
Right?
Yep. Because then I want to do this. Can I do that?
Yeah,
So-
what do-
Oh no!
what do we do?
How do
So
we?
these lines are good indications for what you're able to do, right?
Okay.
So just like if you were on the freeway, are you allowed to cross a solid white line?
No.
No, right? You're supposed to stay in your lane if it's a solid white line. If it's a dashed white line, can you cross it?
Yes.
You can,
Yes.
right? So similar here, as long as you don't have a solid white line, you're allowed to cross it. Now, for these vehicles moving south in this case, get it out of here, right?
Okay, so here they come.
If they're coming this way, we hope that the purple car, if they intended to turn left, we hope that they already knew that back here.
They're
And I did it.
We always
Oh,
are.
100% I did it. So now I'm going to have to head off.
So they could both go here, or this car can turn and
Yep.
this one can go straight.
Exactly, yep. So technically, once this vehicle gets to this point, it can no longer go left at this intersection.
Crap. This is where I'd get a ticket. Then I'd be like, hey, I got to go to Walmart.
Yep.
No, bad.
So then they should have
deal.
switched lanes
Beforehand.
beforehand
Yep.
if they were going to exit over here or come back.
Yep, and the pavement markings are helpful for this. So you see these two pavement markings here. Those will exist also before
Oh,
they
good.
enter the roundabout,
Good.
and they help people understand what this lane can do, right? It's the same as a regular intersection.
Yeah.
If the lane has a right turn arrow in it, you know you can turn right. Right?
Yes.
Same principle.
Okay, good. I'm glad that we have pre-warnings back there. That'll be helpful. Okay, then we get around to the side area
This
where
one.
the
This is
dotted
the
lines.
one where I always hope. I'm like, oh, should I go there or there?
Yeah, good question, huh?
Yeah.
So you would think here, because it's a dashed white line, that you can cross it, right? And honestly, if there's no one there, you could and nothing would happen, right?
Okay.
This is only a dashed white line because of this vehicle coming into the roundabout.
Oh,
Does that
got you.
make sense?
So that they can come into the roundabout.
Okay.
Okay, so it's mainly for an entrance,
Right.
not
Yep.
really for an exit.
Exactly. And that's why it's still following that same arc of that circle, is to indicate you're supposed to be moving with that.
You guys are
same
trying to make it as simple as possible for us.
You know, and that's the thing, is I think if a lot of drivers just turned off the panic a little bit and let the roundabout guide them, they might be better off, right?
Yeah,
I don't
totally.
advocate for not paying attention on the roadway, but I think that a lot of people could benefit from calming down a little bit at the roundabouts, because they're designed to be very simple and intuitive. As you approach the roundabout, you look to the left. If there's nobody there, continue through the roundabout, right? With these 2-lane roundabouts, a little bit more complex, but pay attention to the signs and those pavement markings, and they'll tell you where you can go depending on what lane you're in.
So overall safety.
Safety, yep. So like we talked about, safety is predominantly because we have these collisions that are less severe, right? Now, a lot of people ask me about pedestrians at roundabouts, right? And people think, well, okay, you've convinced me that the vehicles are safer, but are pedestrians really safer? And the answer is yes, pedestrians are way, way, way safer at roundabouts. And that's for a couple of reasons.
And I would think no, because constant movement.
Constant movement, right?
Right.
So here's how this works. The first thing we need to consider is at a traditional intersection. Now, I know people, if you're not an engineer and you don't look at roads all day, you don't know how wide a road is, right? But a road like Main Street is 80 feet wide. 80 feet is a lot of feet when you're walking, right? So to cross Main Street, you have to cross 80 feet at the same time. And you got to go fast. Roundabouts are great because you split that into 2 and you also cut out a big chunk in the middle. So if this were 80 feet before, you now have crossings that are maybe 25, 30 feet. Tops.
Do they narrow a little bit as you enter to have people slow down? I know in some roadways they narrow them, even in neighborhoods.
By Larson, we've narrowed
Even
that
in
a little
neighborhoods, because it slows people down, some people get mad about it, but it's for safety. If it's more narrow, then you're like, oh, I got to slow down to make sure I'm.
Exactly, yes. Yep. Again, it makes people uncomfortable, right? And that's the counterintuitive part of what I do for work is frequently, the more uncomfortable people feel, the safer they act, right? And so I don't design roads to be unsafe, but I sometimes design them to feel uncomfortable because when people are uncomfortable, they pay more attention and they're more careful, right? So
the unknown.
The unknown,
makes you
right?
kind of be more
makes
cautious.
you slow down. So we do narrow those roadways down. So you're right. If the roadway were wider before, it's already automatically slimmer than it would have been. Plus, we're splitting it into 2 separate crossings. And what this does in the middle here, between these 2 concrete sections, this is what we would call a pedestrian refuge island. Okay, three fun words, right?
That is exciting.
But the key word is refuge, right?
Yes.
So you sit in that middle until you're safe to go.
Okay.
And the reason for that is, and this is again why roundabouts are so great. Let me create a situation for you, okay? Let's imagine we're at a signalized intersection, okay? There's a traffic light, okay? It's a red light. So someone's crossing the road legally because there's a red light. What's going to happen if a driver is looking at their phone as they approach that intersection and
They
they don't
shouldn't be
realize?
looking at their phone.
They shouldn't be, but what if they are?
Yeah.
What's going to happen to that pedestrian?
They're going to get hit.
They're going to get
fast.
hit going fast, right? Roundabouts are great for a number of reasons. One, there's a whole lot of visual cues and roadway improvements to make people pay attention. But if they don't, roundabouts are great because 1, these crossings are way shorter. So people can get out of the way if they really need to. More importantly, if they notice a driver is not paying attention to the road or to them, they can wait in this center refuge island until the driver passes and until the next one sees them and yields, and then they can proceed.
Assuming
So you
somebody
have to
doesn't
yield to these intersections,
always
correct?
yield,
With the
yep.
pedestrian.
Yeah,
Always yield.
Okay.
Wow. We are completely enlightened. Thank you so much.
Are we out of time?
We are out of time.
Oh my
yes.
heavens, Dylan, you're
do
fabulous.
you love your job?
I do, and the reason I love it is because I get to serve Spanish Fork.
And because there's time for one more, you get to choose another segment.
Well, Andrew, like you, when I was looking through our long list, we've had a really great year. A lot of favorites.
A lot of awesome people.
A lot of good variety. But I went back to my dear friend from high school, Cindy Bradford, and she was just with us in October. But when she shared her vulnerable story about dealing with breast cancer a year ago,
Yes.
I just, wow, it's inspiring. And then one of my friends that actually lives in St. George watched our segment and scheduled a mammogram off of that.
I love it. And that is the tidbits that we're talking about,
Yeah.
right? Like if our show can help one person or connect one person in the community to someone that they need.
She did it. So
Yeah.
I think it's worth a rewatch.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. As we close out our Breast Cancer Awareness Month, we need to share one more survivor story. Let's welcome Cindy Bradford to the table.
Hello,
Welcome.
Thank you.
So happy you're here.
Thanks. You guys remember meeting Cindy?
Yes, last year at Grace Ahinger's first event at IHC.
Correct.
In line with us.
Yep.
Yeah, it was her event for breast cancer awareness, right? And Cindy and I go way back, long time. 40 years? That makes us sound really old. Let's say 30. Even though we've been graduated 30.
25
It's got to be 40 since
We
junior
go back
high.
a ways.
Okay, and as I recall, now when we were in the line, were you just coming off of your journey or had just been a few
Yes.
months into your journey? Okay.
let's have
so
a-
yes,
I
tell
had
us.
just,
Yes.
yeah, I had just finished. So
Okay.
August of last year, I just went in for my normal mammogram, and I've went and done them since I was 40 years old. So that was my 11th one.
Wow.
And so I went in just to Spanish Fork Hospital and had my mammogram, and then I got a call the next day to come have another one. But I had to go to Provo because the Spanish Fork doesn't do like the second, like more aggressive one.
Okay.
And have they told you at that point anything was
No.
wrong? Just said you
they
need
just
another
did nothing.
scan?
We want to look at it closer is kind of what they said.
Okay.
So I went over to Provo the next day and went in and had another one done. And then the tech said to me, the radiologist wants you to wait in the waiting room. So as a nurse, I knew that was not good.
Oh.
And I sat in that waiting room all by myself, just like, holy cow, what's happening? So the radiologist called me into his office, the office, and he had 2 big screens up. So he had last year's mammogram and then he had this year's. And I couldn't believe what I saw.
Really?
And I was just like, oh my, and I said, what do you think? And he's like, oh, I don't know, we've got to do a biopsy. And
So
I said,
was it a
okay.
big mass?
So they were all over, like this whole breast was full, like all these little things all over. But a big one that he really narrowed down.
and then the other
did
breast, nothing?
Clear.
Crazy.
Clear.
Is that normal or typical?
Yeah, to
Okay.
normally just have one
Okay. All right.
So routine to,
full.
okay.
And how long do they feel like that was there for? Do
I don't
they
know.
know?
I had done the year before. So I
But
don't
you
even know.
felt fine.
Oh no,
Like,
I would
you
have
would-
never. I didn't feel anything. I didn't feel different. I had no illness. Nothing. Nothing.
So then what that happens, then does he say we're setting up a doctor appointment?
No. So then biopsy. So then that's
Right
what
then.
was crazy is that then I went into and tried to schedule it. Well, the lady's like, oh, it's probably about 2 weeks out.
Well,
And I'm like, oh my gosh, 2 weeks to wait to even biopsy to see if it's cancer or not.
right. Like I'm going to be a mess.
I know. And so I said, will you put me on like just a waiting list? Like if they have a cancellation, I'd love to come sooner. So the following week, the nice receptionist called me. She's like, I had just had a cancellation. Let's get you in. So I had went in the following week and went in for the biopsy to be done.
okay.
And then you have to wait a week after for the biopsy results. So it's like waiting of just wondering what's happening. And so then I'll never forget when I got the results and it said it was like stage 3, grade 3. It was a grade 3 is what they called it.
And did you know at that point what that
No, I had to
meant, or-
research it. With even being a nurse, I'm like, I don't even know what a grade 3 is.
Did they call you in or did they just call you
Called
on
me.
the phone? Just called you on the phone?
Yeah. And so then they scheduled me to go see a oncologist. So I had an oncologist and then I had a surgeon oncologist that I went to go see. And so my surgeon oncologist, and I'm going to say her name because she's awesome, but her name's Dr. Tittensor.
Perfect.
Yeah, Tittensor. Yes,
perfect
and
name.
and I had to ask her because I'm like, did you marry a Tittensor? Did you do this on purpose? Hold up. How
Did you
does this-
change your
'cause She
name?
used to not. She was just a general. What was she before that? She wasn't a. She wasn't. She
Oh my
specialized in
goodness.
oncology after.
Wow.
Wow.
And so, but she's amazing. So I went to see her, and she said, you know what, Cindy, I think we can just do a lumpectomy. Just remove this really large area, I think is what our plan is. And so I left there thinking, okay, that's doable. She said, but then before I left, she said, I always like to do an MRI just to make sure that it's just in that spot and not really all over. And so she scheduled an MRI to be done before I went in for the lumpectomy. Well, then I had that at 11 o'clock, the MRI. And she called me by 4 o'clock that day and said, I'm so sorry, Cindy, but it is everywhere in your breast. You are going to have a mastectomy now. And I was just like, oh. She said, do you want to do both? And I said, I do. Take them both. It's fine. And so I was already scheduled for lumpectomy, so then they just went ahead. And so September 21st is when I had double mastectomy. And it was tough. It was probably the hardest thing that you could ever imagine, because they cut all of the nerves, muscles, everything is cut. They took out lymph nodes on both sides just to make sure that I was clear with my lymph nodes, and I was. But on the breast, it had come out of the border, which means it's come out of the lining of the breast and had started to spread. And because of that, then I had to do 25 days of radiation. So I went every day, and they radiated that breast to make sure that that burned off that line, where the lining where it had went out. They wanted to make sure they had burned that off. And so I would go to work every day, and we would just head over after work and go have radiation.
Oh my gosh.
It was 25 days of torture. It really was not easy. So
And just mentally going through the mastectomy and then having to head into something that was like physically really hard too.
Oh, it's painfully hard. Yeah, it was really a hard thing.
So what got you through? Like, coming on the other side.
I don't know. You know, I had people that I really liked that reached out, and Rebecca Crespin, you guys all know her. She was fabulous. She really helped, and my great friends, just good support.
Yeah.
And then you know what? I thought, I have way too much to do in my life to let this get me down. So I only took 4 weeks off work when I had my double mastectomy, because I thought, I'm not going to sit at home.
Yeah.
I'm getting back. And my sweet husband took a whole month off work and took care of me.
Wow. Love it.
So he was a trooper through it all. And he's really a trooper.
I was going to pun intended.
He's really a highway patrolman. Yes. They let him take a whole month off just to take care of me. So it was really.
This has been 1 year now.
1 year in September.
How do you feel now?
Good. I had reconstruction done in April.
Awesome.
So that's
How was that recovery by comparison? I've heard
it
kind of bad and
wasn't
good, too.
terrible.
Okay.
But the thing they do now, they don't put any type of saline or anything in. They take the fat from your stomach, and it's called a fat transfer. So they're transferring fat from your own body into your breasts, and so you don't get any foreign objects in there. And so
maybe there's a plus side.
Yeah, you get a little bit
bit.
of fat taken out. My husband's like, hook me up. But that was probably the most painful, was having the fat removed from the stomach than it was having the reconstruction done.
Do you think it was helpful also that you had a medical background? Just your perspective?
Oh, yes, I knew what I needed. I knew when, things I needed to do to get better. Absolutely.
And going back to you saying too, I remember coming to visit you and you saying so-and-so has reached out and they had experienced this. I can't believe all the people that have gone through this, but
unreal.
You don't know. And it was those who had the most empathy really have experienced similar things.
And so that's why I want to be a complete advocate, because you know what? People have no idea when they think, I can just wait a couple of years. You can't. They told me I would have not been around the following year if I would have waited.
Wow.
And not having any other symptoms,
nothing.
Right? So you just don't know.
And so I did genetic testing. Oh, are we done?
No, I don't know. What's our time? Has he given us our time?
We're almost there. But
when I did genetic testing, and nothing in my genes. So it was not
Just a
even
fluke.
just
that's
a
interesting
really
to know,
quick thing.
because I have done that as well. So I guess that's just not, completely for sure.
It
like
can
you're
be a
good to
plus,
go.
but it's not necessarily the
So
deal breaker.
yes, in our final minutes then for the folks that maybe haven't had their mammogram. Yes, and yes.
Get your mammogram. It's so important.
Mine's tomorrow.
Oh, good. And you just did yours.
And I do mine in January.
There we go. And that's what I had always done. Like on my birthday, around my birthday is when I had always done mine.
Yep.
And so 11 years of it.
Wow.
Cindy, thanks for coming in and sharing your story.
Thank you for your courage
And if
and your
anyone
example.
needs help, I would love to reach out and help, because I think it really takes a lot of support through the whole thing.
Sounds like
Wholesome.
I love your shirt.
Thanks again.
Love you, Cindy.
Thank you.
There have been so many favorites from the year that selecting only a handful is difficult.
It is.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
It was super difficult.
Throw out some others as you guys were like looking through your list. Who were
Okay,
some
I
top
had another
contenders?
one which was maybe kind of random, but UVU, Brenda Betteridge, and she was a patient at Clower Dental, and then she reached out to us, and she was the Empowered Education Program at UVU,
Yeah, like last
where they help give
January.
people helps that are trying to get new jobs or, you know, some extra education in their field. But from that interview that we did here, she reached out to me and had me come to her golf tournament that they did.
Oh.
So I took my sons there, and then after that she came in for oral surgery in our office. So once again, just like a connection,
Yeah, right.
It made us a connection in the
Right.
community. So that was kind of cool for me.
The other top contender for me was Janice Nilsson
Oh, she
that
was
did
great.
the T-shirts.
She was awesome. And then I went to her home to pick up more, and
I just went a couple weeks ago to get some Christmas gifts.
Did
and
you?
Well,
That
on
was
that
for
note,
fun.
I always love the entrepreneurial spirit.
Yes.
So the couple at Gordo's Fun Farm.
Oh yeah,
they were darling.
Yes, I think that what they've been able to grow from the original idea of the farm and what they've grown it into, even with the winter setting now, and then bringing their baby. I mean, how
And it
can you
wasn't
not
that
love
cute?
that?
She came
Yes.
pregnant that first time
Yes.
and then brought the baby back. So that was really cute.
Yes.
Yeah.
So people that are watching us and then watching their businesses grow. I love that.
Yep.
Well, I'm looking forward to 2024 and all the cool people that we're going to have on.
Yep.
I
More
think we have a
business.
lot of
Yes.
repeats.
Wow, right?
Yeah.
Repeats.
But then new faces.
Which is good.
New faces, new motivation, new
Yeah.
ideas.
And hopefully that's what our viewers love is like, oh, I didn't know that person was here, or seeing a familiar face when we have them on and hearing their story.
Yeah.
Yep,
It's
for
super
sure.
awesome.
2024, here we are.
Oh boy, it's here whether we're ready or not.
Yep,
huh?
let's go.
Well, Happy New Year.
Thank you. Love you, ladies.
Love you. We would like to thank Curated Home Design for our beautiful set.